first in number 70, 18, Roe against Wade.
Texas women still are not able to receive abortions from licensed doctors because doctors still fear that they will be prosecuted under the statute. There still are unwanted pregnancies. There are still women who, for various reasons, do not wish to continue the pregnancy, whether because of personal health considerations, whether because of their family situation, whether because of financial situations, education, working situations, some of the many things we discussed at the last hearing. We are not here to advocate abortion. We do not ask this court to rule that abortion is good or desirable in any particular situation. We are here to advocate that the decision as to whether or not a particular woman will continue to carry or will terminate a pregnancy is a decision that should be made by that individual. That in fact she has a constitutional right to make that decision for herself, and that the state has shown no interest in interfering with that decision.
There's nothing that will make you more aware of quality than having a daughter. You know, what do you mean you don't have a soccer team for the girls at the junior high? You know, just righteous indignation. Wait a minute, my daughter wants to play soccer. Well, this is my youngest daughter. This is a girl who at 18 thought she had to have a passport to go to Massachusetts. And this is probably my favorite picture of her. She was just another little stuffed animal on the bed that night, always laughing and grinning and full of life. She always wanted to be a mom with 5 kids. That was her ambition in life, and she made it to 4. But her last pregnancy was a difficult pregnancy, and she was in the hospital for quite a while, and they told her that that's your last pregnancy. You cannot get pregnant again. If you do, it may be the end of you. It could kill you.
The U.S. is one of only 3 countries in the world where the rate of maternal deaths is rising. 60% of pregnancy-related deaths are preventable. This is simply unacceptable when we know these inequities are unjust and avoidable.
Any grandparent or any parent is joyous at the thought of another grandchild coming into the world. Sure, but that's the difficulty of it. You'd love to have all the grandchildren in the world, but if that's not something that can happen. I'm a plain testimony Quaker. We don't go to a church and have someone tell us his version of God from a book. We experience God. I stand by whatever decision she has to make. I'm going to disown my daughter over something like that, over a very personal decision. And if it's not as her father, if it's not my place to meddle, it's not my place to interfere in her extremely personal decision like that. It's certainly not the government's place. Strangers. It's not their place to decide what is best for her and her family, her and her health, her and her life. It's just not, it's not up to them.
It just stuns me. So extreme that doctors will be criminalized for fulfilling their duty to care. Imagine having a young woman have to carry a child of incest as a consequence of incest. No option. Too often the case, the poor women are going to be hit the hardest. It's cruel. In fact, the court laid out state laws criminalizing abortion that go back to the 1800s as rationale. The court literally taking America back 150 years. This is a sad day for the country, in my view.
Well, I mean, I'm concerned for her, very concerned. I mean, it's very worrisome and unsettling. Nobody wants to hear that. As a grandfather of 11 people, I don't want to hear that. But if she has to terminate a pregnancy, thank God she's in California. If she was in Mississippi, it could be a whole different ball of wax. She might just lay there in the hospital and die. Women are just as important in our Quaker community as the men. And for a right to be stripped away from them as a group just galls me. And this hurts me because it affects my family, but I worry about what they're going to do next. Is it Miranda? Is it Brown versus Board of Education? Is it Lawrence versus Texas?
And I have no reason or agenda to prejudge the issue or to predispose to rule one way or the other on the issue of abortion, which is a difficult issue.
Clarence Thomas apparently believes that any decision made by the Supreme Court that was about things that weren't mentioned in the Constitution should be overturned. He said abortion wasn't mentioned in the Constitution, it should be overturned. Well, there was a decision by the Supreme Court called Loving versus Virginia that is a legal basis for him to be in an interracial marriage. So Clarence Thomas, revisit that one. It's hopelessness by design. They want you to give up and throw your hands up and say there's nothing we can do.
Because misinformation is what has all these other people.
There's an awful lot of angry women right now, and they need to vote on the local level, on the state level, on the federal level, and I hope they can keep it up. I hope they can keep it. I hope they can keep women stirred up about this. I hope they can keep their partners stirred up about this, and not give up. And don't forget,